By the old neighborhood. Ain't that weird?
Worst experience of my life.
You walked away from everything that you had built. A total infrastructure that you had in place. Just walked away. And went out there to live in some used house. Man, please make me understand that one. Now wait a minute. They've been chasing freedom since the day that the brother stepped off the boat and said, oh, what y'all talking about? Oh, go get some wood, huh? Oh, okay, boss. I'll be right back. What? Okay. Be right back. And never look back. See, that brother's the one I'm talking about. They've been after freedom all the time, but not trying to get it, trying to keep it. Ain't never been trying to beg for no freedom. And if you sided with them people that was marching and begging for their freedom, then I guess you feel sorry for them folks that were breeders in Kentucky and Natchez and Angola. I don't feel sorry for them personally. See, I always been telling them, my brothers and sisters, you know the ones that got breeders and all this, they've been telling all the time. The ones y'all love so much, them slaves been telling them. Who they were telling? Boss. Who they tell boss on? The ones that were not begging for freedom in the first place. The ones ain't never been black. Ain't never been any label that you want to put on. The ones ain't never been human. They've been gods all the time. Your baby's been gods all the time. I know they've been Superman all the time. That's right. They've been Akhenaten's and Imhotep's all the time. All the time. They never forgotten. And we nobody to remind them. They are who they are. And guess what? They can feel themselves when they come. They can feel each other when they get in each other's presence. Because they know who they are. They don't need nobody to bring them some lesson about who they are. They know who they are. They feel who they are. Deep down inside, places folks can't get to. You know, I wonder what the mind really is. It might be deep down inside. It might be all through this thing. It might be the very cellular structure. It's a funny thing. Right now they're doing something called stem cell research. I ain't talking about embryonic stem cell. See, when Bush was the president, they wouldn't let nobody do embryonic stem cell because it was killing babies, they said. So since they couldn't do embryonic stem cell, they did the research on stem cells. So that means now they can go into my body and they can take cells from the midriff and they can now go into the lab. And my wife, when you talk to her, you get her to start teaching you this. She's a Harvard biologist, you understand? And they know how to now take the cells and put them into a little colony, into a little dish, and they put some growth hormone in there with them, and they grow the cell. And then once they get the cell in about 3 weeks to grow out, they come and they shoot the cell into you with a hypodermic. They shoot the cells in. And once the cells go in the body, guess what they do? They go and repair the heart. And guess what? Don't nobody have to tell the cells what to do. This is weird. I wonder how they doing this. Nobody has to tell us, huh?
Are we talking about the mind?
And when you're like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm trying to figure this one out myself. You know, because they keep saying what they're doing. And there seems to be something going on here that knows what it's doing. Maybe. Let's say the molecular structure. Now we need to figure out what this is. Because once your babies can figure out what this is, they may start to understand what a complexion is. And once they can really understand what a complexion is, what melanin actually is, what this thing is for real, now can't nobody come along and tell me no nonsense. You understand? Can't nobody make them believe nothing about themselves. Now they know. Now they know how to fix themselves. And understand, if we can start actually doing stem cell recovery, the body fixes itself. Someone says, well, how does the body know how to do that? I don't know. Stevie said, how does a rose know bloom in the month of May? Can you dig it? You just know. We have to know. No guessing, no lying. We're going to do this. And these kids, if we help them, if we help these kids, they're going to do this themselves. And now guess what? Now the people sitting all up there talking about they're the principals and the superintendents and they're the mayors and all of this. We know they're lying. Everybody knew they were lying. Did nobody say nothing? Now these kids got to leave out of there not prepared to do what? Go to jail. We ain't got to have that. Now guess what? If they do what is necessary, they change this. We don't have to wait on nobody to do it for us. These babies change this. We do this. We do the work. And so if you were able to figure out that problem in a matter of minutes, you got kids, you got children, so you're going to teach your children so that your children know that when they talk about Jesus, they talk about geometry. And they know how to set this equation up. And if they can set this equation up, then they can stand on their square. And if they're standing perpendicular to the horizontal, and they know what they're doing, now we got truth. Now we're doing this. What time is it? It's almost time to go, so I guess what I didn't bring any tapes, but I answered some questions right quick.
She memorized the first page, kind of. Really, you want her to recite it?
What did you, Kylie, what are you supposed to be doing for me?
The first page.
First page of what?
The mnemonics.
Well, get up and do it for me. The disc?
Yes, sir.
Well, come on up and do it for me. I think so. I heard that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. You hear what he said? You didn't hear it? Oh, that's good for you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. My name is Howard. And it's
So your voice went down for some reason. Keep your voice up. Come on, let's go.
Okay. Every day someone is saying, I forgot. They mean to say, I forget. There is an old axiom that says, once something is learned, it cannot be forgotten. If this is true, it stands to reason that whatever you said you forgot wasn't learned in the first place.
Good.
The ability to remember is an amazing capacity that shouldn't be taken for granted.
That should not be taken for granted, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Every day-to-day life, minor problems leads to major problems. And then it was 2 more sentences I was working on.
Okay, no problem. When you come back next week, you'll have the whole thing, right?
Yes, sir.
And you won't have any problem pulling it up. You're going to be able to pull up the whole thing, right?
Yes, sir.
What she's reciting from is the memory disk.
That's right.
That's what she's reciting from. I need everyone to learn that page. You understand the memory disk? You've got a memory disk, I think. All right? So that's the first page. I want you to be able to do that without looking. The first page on the reading book, I want you to be able to do the whole page without looking. And then, we'll do this in class tomorrow. I want you to copy that first page, and then, if on the first page, what does it say? Read the first page of your reading book. In today's world, reading is a fundamental what? Right there. What does it say? Oh, it's on the page.
No.
What does it say?
Captism.
In today's world, reading is one of the fundamental what?
Capacities.
Capacities. Keep going.
That an individual can develop.
Good. Keep going.
For some reading, bold new words.
For some, reading can open up brave new worlds. Keep going.
Bold new worlds.
Bold new worlds. Keep going.
And unlock many untold mysteries.
Good.
For others, reading can end dilemma of paradox and
good. Now, before this is over with, he has to copy that page. I need you darling to copy that page. All right? Then what do you do after you copy that page? I want you to change every word that you're not familiar with. And you teach yourself 2 words
to replace it.
To replace that word. So what would you replace capacity with?
Yeah.
Ability is a good one. I want you to learn some others, but I like ability. Capacity, fundamental. Fundamental. Basic, that's a good one. And I want you to learn some others. Because I want to learn some others and replace those words. Now, when I ask you a question about something, and now you can tell me in other words what it says, I'll know if you understand what you're reading. In most cases, we're failing the test because we don't understand the instructions and we don't really understand what is actually being said. Once you can transfer your thoughts, whereas it's your words, now you know what's going on. Yeah. So we use this as a fundamental lesson to teach ourselves. In other words, Brandon, I ain't trying to teach you nothing. I want you to learn how to teach yourself. So you do the exercises that teach you. Step by step. You learn the states. How many states start with the letter A? 4. How many states start with the letter I? 5. I don't think so. How many states start with the letter I? 4. How many states start with the letter M? 8. How many states start with the letter N? 8. Good. We learn each one, every kind of which way we can. And so when I'm asking you a question, if you've been doing what I'm asking you to do, you've learned about the letter A relative to where it comes from. How many times have you heard somebody say, alpha means the first? Huh? Well, have you ever looked it up? How do they know it means the first? I wonder where they get that from. It must be from the preacher. Does the preacher know? Are they just trusting the preacher, huh? I'm going to show y'all last time y'all trusted some preachers what you got. You got beat out of everything. All right, now listen. Once you understand how this works, we're going to step by step. We're going to use the alphabet page. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes? Louder, I can't hear nothing you say. What?
Can you help me with this math, please?
Can I help you with that equation? Before we leave, I'll try to break the equation apart for you, okay? I'll do the best that I can. If I can't, Tamarcus, you there? We'll help him with this math equation, right? I'm going to help you before we go, all right? Will you try to ask me a question?
It was pretty much the same thing with the math, just the
which one?
Just the basically how to study or how to know how to.
Oh, with the math? Don't worry about it. Here, all I need you to do with math, you start out. Listen, watch. We're gonna do this right quick.
I understood that.
Listen, watch. This is for 1. What's the next integer? 2. So how many integers do we have? Right? That's it. There are no other integers. There are just 9. Right? Now, take these 9 and this one, right? Turn them around backwards. And what do we start with here? You want to start with 9. Now let's go backwards. Is that right? Is that 9 to 0? And we'll come this way. We got 0 to 0, right? All right. When we, let's say, doing what you were doing with the 5s, it only works when the number ends in 5. This particular formula. See, all formulas don't work for the same problems. But you know that when you've been trying to solve a problem for a long time with a particular formula, and you've never gotten it correct, you must, what? After what?
Change the formula.
So if y'all been trying to solve this problem for 300, 200, 400, 500, whatever y'all say, number of years, and you've never gotten it fixed, what you doing wrong? You still must be using a bad formula. So maybe we need to change them formulas. Otherwise, if we keep addressing that same problem, in the same way,
We're insane.
it's probably insane. All right, now look, right here, if you got 15, 25, 35, right? 45, right? If each one, you do this. Now look what you're doing. You're creating your patterns. You have to understand that you got patterns. You're only going 1 to 9. Why do you think in zeros? Never count with zeros. Well, here you're doing the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you're doing 5 here, and on this side, let's say you're doing the same number because you're squaring. Now go through each one of these equations, one at a time, straight through. It's going to cause you to start seeing patterns. Later we'll learn how to get other formulas to do other kinds of problems. But in the meantime, let's say you were doing 35 times 35. What's the answer?
1,225.
1,225, that's right. But let's say instead of saying 35 times 35, let's say 35 times, no, I'm sorry, 34 times 35. What would it be? What would it be? Come on, y'all. Now, this couldn't be taken forever because you know that 35 times 35 is 1225, right? Take 135 away from that, and what do you have? Thank you. You have 1,100. Oh, what is it? 1,000. You couldn't have 1,200 because you're taking 35 away, right? Yeah, but see, you know 25, you got to take that away because you're taking 135 away from what? From 1,225. So all you taking off of the 1,200 is 10. So you had 1,100 and what? What'd you say? You figured it out? Did you figure it out? I didn't figure it out. You were thinking. Oh, I'm showing you, you said. Good. He said, I'm showing him something. So you figured it out. Oh, good. So you mean if you go through this equation every day, and you just start figuring these out, and then you start doing this work, then all of a sudden, you get faster and faster. But guess what you got to do it?
Practice.
You got to practice. Who read Jonathan? You read Jonathan? Who else? You read Jonathan? Anybody else? You read Jonathan? What did Jonathan say he had to do to get better? Practice. You got to practice. You got to practice. You got to practice. Now guess what? Jonathan's mama didn't like him. Jonathan's daddy didn't like him. And none of his friends like him. Guess why they don't like him? Because he's trying to do something. And see, they didn't want anybody to do anything other than what they've been doing. Because they ain't been doing nothing all this time. They've been doing one thing. They've been going to the store with the EBT card. What? Did I say something? But you understand, Jonathan wanted to actually go to Tiffany's and buy his mama a set of diamond earrings. Now, I appreciate that personally. I hope that Jonathan knows that Jonathan is supposed to be buying me. I'd rather have a Bentley now. What? I like the old Rolls Royces, you know. But now the newer ones I don't too much like. I like the Bentley. Black. Convertible? I like convertibles that work. Black. You know what I'm saying? Black. And then for some of my kids, I'm telling them, jet. Bentley ain't good enough for some of them because they're smart enough. They're supposed to have me a private jet out here at Wilson Private Airport. Now, if they can be smart enough to make sure that I can have a jet for my private transportation, then what can they have? That's they have whatever they want on this planet. But if we're always thinking about that too, I can't do that, and I just want to go and get a good job. I want to go and get a good job. That's what y'all supposed to do, ain't it? You just go get a good job, right? That's just work hard in school so you can get a good job.
So that's why I was talking.
Ain't that something? Well, I hope this baby, he grow up and never get a job. I hope that they every job in Mexico. Take all jobs in Mexico. I have no problem with that. Why you want to get a job? Why don't you make a job? Make a job for everybody in your neighborhood. Create jobs. Why do we have to wait till somebody makes a job for me and then give me a job? Then they give me something. Ain't that something? Well, boss, give me that. Give me more corn. But you know what I sound like? I sound like a chicken. You know how chickens, they're always looking for boss to come out the house, bringing some more corn. You know what I'm saying? If the chickens all line up for Farmer Jones to come out there and feed them. And when the corn ain't enough corn, the chickens are all mad. The corn ain't good today. Ain't enough corn today.
Some strange chicken here.
Strange chickens.
The milk complaining if the color of corn change.
Ain't that something?
Hey, what's
Yes,
green
sir.
corn you doing down here?
All right, listen. You know what he just reminded me of? We walked up the house. I didn't do any this. So next week, if all of you gonna come, what dish should I bring? What dish do we need next week? We need to read and memory disc. Okay, I'll bring everybody. Now y'all gotta pay for this now, but I'll bring some. The reading and memory disc. What else? Do we need some Roy Wood? Does everybody have Roy Wood? You don't know about none of this. We're gonna bring some music disc and some Roy Wood.
As a man thinking.
As a man thinking, we'll bring. I have it on sound, the audio. Yeah, I'll bring that. What else? What else do we need?
I got before 7 and 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
does anybody need a reading book and an alphabet book? This is the alphabet book and this is the reading book. Now, it'll be on the disc, but he's got, now reason we're going to sell the books through him is what he's doing is he's raising money for the Education Foundation that they've created. This is how we're actually going to make sure that these kids, see, how old are you, None? The baby. Zoe, how old are you? She's 6. How old do you have to be to start at Piney Woods? How old do you have to be to start at Piney Woods? What? Oh, you said they're up to 8th grade now? It used to be babies, once upon a time, it used to be babies.
Oh, I thought they started.
When I worked there, they used to start in 7th grade.
Oh, 7th grade, okay.
But maybe they've changed.